Hey everyone, welcome to something a little bit different. I've titled this video, The Best Off-Road Game from 2011, and you may have caught on to the wording of that. That doesn't mean very much, mostly because there were only a few off-roading games that actually came out in 2011. I'll just name a few so it might jog your memory if you were playing games back in these days. That is 9 years ago now, so it is quite a while. We've got MotorStorm Apocalypse, MX vs ATV Alive, Sega Rally Online Arcade, Dirt 3, which is notable as I've played it completely on this channel, and then Offroad. This game came out September 30th, 2011. Now the thing that sets this one apart is its focus on slow crawling, and it does have some fast sections, but we'll likely be avoiding those as much as we can because they're not great. This game shines at its slow crawling technical bits, sort of like Spin Tires, but Spin Tires did not exist until 2014, and that game isn't a racing game unless you count racing against your impatience. So I've called this game the best off-road game from 2011, but it does have some issues. It's not perfect, not by any means. It truly is a diamond in the rough. I think there is a diamond in here, and I'll talk about some of the changes that I would have made if this was, closer to the time when they were actually patching this thing. There hasn't been a patch posted since 2011, so it's been a while. Nothing's gonna change here. Negative reviews cite bad controls, steep learning curve, and just general jankiness for the most part. A lot of people have trouble with this game because it is not easy in the slightest, especially towards the end with the AI just cheating, basically. When you play the actual levels, there are ghosts because it's time trial, so you'll constantly see the AI go past you and it's like, well, what am I doing wrong? And yeah, I don't think it makes people feel very good about this. Needless to say, I think I've talked enough. Let's go ahead and play the game and you can decide for yourself what you think of it. I'm going to play through the tutorial and do a couple of the levels, and yeah, I'll give you my insight into it afterwards. And I'll show you some fun stuff I found on their website as well. Thankfully it's still up and there's some weird stuff on there. Anyways, let's get into the game. Alright, so we're in the game. I've muted the music because it's very repetitive, and also I've lowered down some of the other sounds and such because, yeah, this game did not spend any money on sound effects. So one thing you're going to immediately notice from the title screen, there's no free play, there's no practice, and that is the biggest omission I think from this game. In order to have people get used to the controls and actually be able to play it properly, there needed to be some kind of practice, and there just isn't. So just so you know, settings wise, playing it with the 360 gamepad, it does have other presets for old wheels that don't really exist anymore. But yeah, I'm going with the gamepad for this one. I don't even want to try this game with a wheel, but maybe I will for a stream if people are interested. So jumping into the tutorial section, I've already started and beat the tutorial basically. This is a new profile, just so we could start from the beginning with just the basic car that you get, or truck in this case. There are quite a few vehicles, which is a good thing about this game, but anyway, let's jump into the tutorial and you'll see what I'm talking about here. Alright, so it does give you a bit of a rundown on what's going on with voice. I'm going to skip most of that, and I'm going to try to move the cursor out of the way as well. It always starts the camera in a really awkward spot, but this is the way that it tries to tell you to, or it tries to teach you how to play the game. Now what I'm going to do is demonstrate something that I've done that I kind of messed up in this game. Oh wait, there we go. Controls are a little bit awkward. You do have to press down the, it says shift right there. It's not shift on the keyboard, it's actually RB on the controller. So RB and D-pad down does that. And then here, just right on the D-pad does that, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. You can remap controls, but it doesn't stick all the time, and that's one of the biggest complaints about this game. So what I'm doing here is I'm jumping around on the outside. The first time that I played this, I'm just gonna not worry about time. I got stuck in that hole in the tutorial, and I could not escape because they don't give you all the tools right away. So make sure if you play this game to go around on the outside. But that's the sort of thing with this, like, the first time you play it you're gonna get stuck immediately, but if you're persistent with it then you will be able to figure out the trick to go around it. And sometimes that trick is a little more difficult than you might want, mostly because it's like, this is the tutorial of the game, it should be easy, but yeah, I mean this game is just difficult, at least in some ways. So you can see here going over these pipes or just concrete pieces, I am in low range, got the diffs locked, got four-wheel drive on. Now, coming up here, we're going to need to lower down air pressure. It does get that technical. And also, something that's really cool about this game, let's just take a minute to lower down that air pressure. Can't really do anything when we're doing this either, so there we go. That's the area I've had the most success with. but it does have mud physics to some extent. You can see we're leaving a trail in the mud here as we move forward, and it also has vehicle damage, as I did hit a rock earlier, and it shows. It's kinda cool. The graphics in this game are quite good in my opinion, especially for 2011. Keep in mind that this is also on the Unreal Engine 3, so it does run well, thankfully. Okay, so we need to use the winch, we need to choose an anchor, and this is where things get mega janky, because if you don't know how to do this, then you're not going to be able to do most of the courses in the game, because pretty much everything involves using a winch, and you can see that control section there is not making it look any easier, so I'll try to break it down for you. Basically, you press X to go into winch mode, then you have to press the right stick to select an object that you want to winch to, then you have to hold, okay, hold on, let me do this properly, but then you have to hold the RB button, and then you have to hold right on the D-pad to up the power, pretty much do it all the way every time, because why not? And then after that you let go of everything and just drive on up. So now they're going to let us do it on our own, and I'll go through it one more time so you can see what I'm talking about again. Alright, here we go. More technical courses, this time a little bit faster. We have all of the tools at our disposal, so we may as well. There's no time limit on this, you can basically go as much as you want, and once you finish a lap it'll let you go again. So I guess that does count as practice, but you always have to do that first tutorialized section every time, so it's not great. And this game will punish you as well if you go off the track. You can see there are penalties if you hit flags, and then if you move too far you'll just get reset. So no free roam, unfortunately. Now once you get into the swing of things, you can really get moving. The problem is that this game's physics do not work that well when you're going fast. You'll see coming up on one of the corners over, well, we have quite a ways to go before we get there, but it does not really like going fast. It's much better at this slow jumping and crawling, and well, this is what it was made for, right? The problem is, it seems like they just didn't want to fully commit to the rock crawling, because some of the levels do have some straight sections, and some of them you don't even need to use the winch on, so hopefully we'll get to those so you can see, but going fast is not exactly easy. Alright, winching again, this time doing the full like 5 steps to get there. You just gotta pray that there's a tree if you happen to get stuck. Alright, there we go, made it over. And now this is that fast bit I was talking about. The game, like, I'm in low range, but I can still go pretty quickly. I don't really see any points in the game where you ever need to not be in low range, and with like only really unlocking and locking the diffs is all you need to do. As long as you start with 4-wheel drive, low range, diffs locked, you should do okay at the beginning. And there we go, that's the tutorial done. Alright, we're moving on to the next round. This one is Thailand. We're going to be doing some races here. Now again, I mentioned this earlier, but I just want to mention it again, this is a time trial game, so we're not actually racing anybody. We're going to have to go through all these levels though, and hopefully be able to do well so I can unlock more vehicles to show you. Oh yeah, speaking of vehicles, this is every vehicle in the game here. There are quite a few, but you do need to get rating up to be able to use them, and some of them will be available for certain races depending on the class of the race. Yeah, there's a pretty good selection, it's not too bad. Alright, so this is the next level. I've got to say right now, that one mogul that's right underneath us, actually I think it might have been this one up here, the first time that I did this level, I got stuck there and I just could not pass it, and I couldn't figure out why. Like, the first run in the first like main level of the game, I couldn't get past. So I'll show you how to do it here, if I remember how to. It's been a couple days since I tried it. Okay, so what we immediately need to do is lock those diffs, put it in low, and lower down that air pressure as much as we can. We cannot actually drive and lower air pressure at the same time, so you have to pause for a second and do that, which is not great. As you can see, our ghost there has gotten ahead of us, and again I'm stuck. But what you got to be able to do is winch yourself over the first obstacle in the game, and yeah, that's it. Quicksand uphill, but we'll just lock the diffs, we're fine here. Deep water, we should be okay. It's only that one mogul on the entire level that gives me any sort of a challenge. I'm not looking to come in first, by the way. I'm good with pretty much anything. We're currently in 4th and can't really complain about that. Okay, there is another thing that I do not like about this. They put posts so that if you run too far off the like beaten path, then you'll get a penalty. Those posts are a massive pain, and well, it's just something else to consider when you're already having a difficult time with the game. Okay, my tires are really low, but it's still not enough. I'm just gonna choose this tree, power up, and then... okay, good, we made it. Okay, as you can see, I'm in second place. I'm not doing too bad. Overall, this map isn't particularly difficult. I think the one after this is actually easier than this one. Alright, looks like we're gonna finish the race. First place was a full... well, it was almost 6 seconds ahead of me, which is quite a bit in this sort of thing. But then the third place was a whole 35 seconds behind, so I guess if you want that first place, you gotta do a lot better. Okay, here's the next one. This one I have not had any trouble with. This one's pretty easy. Again, assuming that you take the time to switch into low range, lock the diffs, all that stuff, you should be able to make it pretty easily. Now with this one though, I find it is difficult to know where the heck you're going. The arrows do not help because this is a big figure 8 here. I've already hit one post, so I immediately got a 10-second penalty. I'm guessing whoever was behind me in third place got a couple of penalties. Either way though, we gotta try to avoid those. Okay, you can see the water physics are pretty decent in this game. Unfortunately though, they put posts all the way out there. No idea why they did that. I guess to keep you out of the deepest water, but kind of a pain as I've just got another penalty. Well, 2 more penalties there for overshooting the corner a little bit. My fault completely. I'm probably not going to get the second place as it's currently claimed, considering I have a 40-second penalty, which is a pain in the butt. But anyways, we'll just continue on regardless. Not trying to be a perfectionist here and get first place in every level. One thing that I find to be really cool about this is when you go through the water, it actually cleans off your truck as well. Like they took the time to put in some detail in this game, and I appreciate it. And now we're dirty again instantly upon exiting the water, and we managed to actually get second place despite all those penalties. Goodness. And third level in this, I believe there are 4. This one looks a little bit freaky in the middle there. We're gonna have to unlock the diffs for that. Okay, they aren't making this third level easy. Immediately out of the gate you have to make a lot of sharp turns, which is, I mean, technical, I guess. I also have immediately gotten a penalty. I've unlocked the diffs for those turns because that makes sense, but I'm going to lock them back up for these sections here. I haven't aired down the tires yet because we're not really going through any mud or anything. Quicksand uphill seems to be fine. Once we hit the mud though, things are going to get interesting. If there is any mud in this section, I'm not even sure. Okay, never mind, it's an incredibly fast track. I mean, I'll take that too. So this one's more about technical turning than anything. There isn't much to do with mud or obstacles. It's mostly just moguls, turns, a couple hills, nothing too crazy. This quicksand uphill is not a big deal. I guess if you're in 2-wheel drive it might catch you off guard, but I'm always going to be in 4-wheel drive. I don't see any other way, and I did manage to get first there. Ooh, nice. First place in that championship. Well, it's all downhill from here because that's the easiest one. And would you look at that, I got 2 more vehicles to try out. So what we can do is we can continue on going into Thailand and the various challenges that are in here, or we could move on to Africa and do some of the challenges in here. So I figure let's go ahead and try Africa, and I guess we'll try and pick a different vehicle. We've been driving the same thing this whole time. Okay, we do have a couple more options here, which is sweet. We have this thing here. I don't know what these vehicles are supposed to be, but oh, that does look like a pretty appealing Jeep. Let's go for it. So we've been driving a Class 1 vehicle, which is also in the leaf spring class, but I'm thinking this time, and we're forced to this time anyways, we've got to move up to Class 2, which means we have to pick from these Class 2 vehicles. So we're going to go with this one here, the Mountaineer. It seems to be pretty good off-road and pretty good overall. I think it'll be interesting to try it out. Okay, immediately this one is going to drive a bit differently, so we have to pay attention. The camera's a bit off, and I'm noticing that we are, you know what, we probably shouldn't have been in low there. Okay, it's a little bit more powerful than that other car that we were driving before. So I restarted the race mostly because I preemptively locked the diffs and I really shouldn't have. We're just going to stick in 4-wheel drive, and whoa, we're actually moving now. Things are getting a bit awkward now that we're actually going fast though. This is not where this game shines. Okay, there we go, we managed to make it. Slippery road, and well, we're going to need to be in low range for this. The mud is our enemy, and we're immediately stuck. Okay, I'm going to lower down the tire pressure. We're currently in first, but that's not going to do much. You can see the ghost car is winching behind me, so obviously we need to winch as well. We'll just pick that. hopefully get pulled. Okay, I'm currently stuck in all sorts of ways here. We'll pick this, put up the power, come on thing. Alright, we made it out, thank goodness. That was a very deep spot right there, thankfully we made it. We're currently in 9th and now 10th somehow. I guess I did get stuck there for a while, but I was not anticipating that. Either way, we're moving and we're into some technical rocks. Probably gonna need to shift into low for this one, and then going up a sandy cliff as well. I'm guessing this guy ahead of us is the one in front of us. Not really worried about places once again. Okay, so with these cars, having to shift into high is a lot more important, which is unfortunate because high is a dangerous place in this game. Anyways, let's try and do well. We're bouncing all over the place at high speed. At least, well, we do only have to do one lap of this thing, so we don't have to do too much. Oh my goodness, that is deep. Well, this is gonna be interesting. Looks like this guy managed to make it through without much trouble, but there is a downed vehicle there. I'm assuming it's scenery, but yeah, our snorkel's actually gonna be needed here. And not too bad, the Jeep pulled through. Easy does it. Just gotta get through this mud and we'll be good to go. It's gonna be a while though. So remember when I said that spin tires is good at testing your patience? I think this game is as well, as I've immediately gotten stuck, and there is nothing to winch onto. Okay, I'm not going to be doing very well in this race. That was a pretty rough one overall. I don't know how close we are to the end either. There's no percentage or anything like that in this. I did get stuck. I did have to reset. Thankfully it doesn't penalize for resetting. But either way, we're making it through one way or another, and high speed here as well. Again, a little bit, whoa, a little bit bouncy. A little bit more than you might anticipate. Okay, we'll get hard on that handbrake, although it literally does nothing in this game. It locks up the back wheels, but turning doesn't mean much. Like, I think this game really needed to play a little bit more to its strengths, have some much more technical courses instead of stuff like this. This is a very long track, which is fine, but it just means that we have to run from obstacle to obstacle, and we're constantly at speed, which is, again, not where this game really shines. I like the technical bits a lot better than this, but this is a necessary evil if you want to finish the game, so that's what we gotta do. Okay, back into some mud. Mud is my least favorite thing in spin tires, and it is just as much of a pain to get through it in this game as it is in that game. Oh goodness, we just passed the tree as well. Okay, I'm going to try a slightly different angle of approach here. Probably better to just run through some of the water. Yeah, we seem to be fine. Sometimes it's just the approach angle or the angle that I go at the obstacle that messes me up. In this case, it was obviously just that. Like, this game can look good, even though it's from 2011. Look at the mud on the truck. This is at 2K as well. So, yeah, things are looking pretty good overall. Unfortunately, that was a 7th place there. Not great, definitely could have done better. Either way though, pretty decent race. Alright, round 2 here in Africa. This one looks to be a little more technical, got some rocks there. We're probably not going to be able to get past those without a winch, so we'll probably end up having to do some winching in places that isn't mud on this run, which should be pretty good, because most of the time I find I get stuck in the mud rather than in winch points. Either way, let's check this thing out. It looks like we've got a few water crossings as well. So as previously discussed, I'm not exactly doing too hot in this current section. Currently in 7th place. Oh my goodness, that completely submerged us. Well, I don't think these guys really lived through that one. Let's, wait. Do we have an anchor? Uh-oh. So unfortunately I've reached the point where I cannot winch over this obstacle because the tree is too far away. So, I'm gonna try to figure that out for a bit here. It's wanting me to lock onto that green tree up there, but apparently it's also too far away, so I don't know what you want, game. We're gonna have to figure this one out. Alright, I have to admit something. It has taken me like 50 tries now. Okay, not 50, but more like 5 tries to realize that you can't actually get up this without doing that, and that's sort of what the other people are doing. It's just incredibly hard with this vehicle. I was able to do it before, but you need to crawl up this without using a winch, from what I can tell, even though it's telling you to use a winch, because the tree is too far. The winch is for that tree up there from the looks of things. Oh my goodness, I've done it. I did it. Oh wow. Okay, so I did it without the winch. It took like 5 years, but I have managed to do it. And now we actually have the ability to winch over this tree, hopefully. Okay, never mind, it broke. Come on, game, let me go over the tree, please. Thank goodness we don't have to do 2 laps of this course. Goodness. Well, either way, I managed to make it. That was pretty frustrating, but this is a much more technical track than what we were doing before, and this Jeep is not easy on it. I do not care so much about my place as just finishing this race. At least, yeah, that would be ideal. So far I'm doing okay, but I really could do better. Basically having to winch up everything at this point. Okay, that was a pretty sweet downhill section there, but we're going to be moving into a, I'm guessing, faster part of the track. At least that's what it looks like. Seems like Africa's home of these faster things. Let's go ahead and back down into low. Never mind, we're fine. Yeah, it seems like they probably want us to take this section a little bit slower than what I've been attempting to do. However, I am pretty far back in the pack, so somebody's been able to do it a lot faster than I have. Now, I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but I'm not good at this game, like, not at all. And I know that there are people that are better, more practiced. Yeah, I'm just here to showcase it, talk about it, that's pretty much it. I don't claim to be an expert by any means. Goodness though, this Jeep is quite good. It's hard to get over some of these obstacles. Like, I'm having to find sort of like semi-cheaty ways to do it. Basically just running around as far as I can from the actual obstacle, just trying to get around the posts almost. Like, some of them aren't too bad, but others, they are. Broke the tape, broke that thing, we got a penalty for it. And now this one, I don't even see a tree here, so how are we gonna do this? Okay, I guess the Jeep will just crawl up it. No problem there, thankfully. Oh goodness, you just have to pick the right line, I guess. Yeah, this game is not for those who have lack of patience, that's for sure. But I have managed to get second on that run. Let's do one more race and then we'll finish this thing off. Okay, so this one looks to be pretty technical as well, although most of these obstacles we can just run over on at high speed. The animal noises they put in the background are really awkward, so I tried to turn those down anyways. Okay, so we've got some rocks as well, and some floating people. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. Okay, so I'm going to start in high and with the diffs unlocked. Okay, looks like immediately we're going to need to reverse my previous statement. Low range, diffs locked. Let's run over these rocks with some speed here. Back up into high, no problem there. Okay, never mind, back into low. And then, oh, back into high, a little bit late for me. Maybe I can get around some of this. Yeah, there we go. I can hear a coyote just yelping in the background on this. Quicksand downhill, left turn. This is almost turning into a rally game, isn't it? Okay, this guy's having some trouble up here and he's had to winch, so immediately I'm going to shift into low. I'm going to lower the air pressure in the wheels. Okay, back at the rocks again. I had to restart just because I messed up and accidentally put on the handbrake by accident, but I did figure out something cool. You can air down the tires and move at the same time. You just have to initiate the air down. So far I'm doing okay enough that I can never mind. We're gonna have to winch this thing back onto the winch as we were before. Full power because we need it. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Thankfully the tension on the winch isn't a big deal right now. I'm sure that's gonna become an issue later on. Come on, Jeep, let's do it. And we made it. Okay, sometimes the behavior of the vehicle gets a little bit weird. This is kind of one of those times, but we're coming up to a fast section. Again, this is a 1-lap race. Thankfully, we're not doing laps here. Good lord, that is a big water crossing, though. Let's get down into low. Okay, never mind, we don't need to be in low at all. We'll just high range through this thing. Completely drown the driver and the co-driver. Not like we really needed them anyways. So what I'm going to do here is just kind of go around the outside of the mud pit because there's no flags and it seems like that's probably going to be fastest. So far not doing too bad though. They suggest that you lower speed when going into these, but I find it really funny that they have like dead vehicles on the side of the track. And they probably went a bit too slow and sunk into it, so why don't we go fast? I'm actually liking this track quite a bit, except for that first section. It's not too bad. Like, there isn't a lot of deep mud. It's relatively quick as well so far. Like, it's a fast track, but it's not a bad track. Like, one of the ones I was running before, I was able to catch some serious air in a track, or in a vehicle that you really shouldn't be catching air in. And also, like, how deep can we go with this thing? Goodness. I think a lot of like doing well in this, with this vehicle I mean, would end up being down to, oh no, am I damaged? Is that why I'm going so slow? So what I was saying before is I think a lot of doing well in this game just comes down to practice. Like if you know the track, then you'll be able to do well because you'll know the rocks that you can hit in certain ways. Like in that water crossing section there, I wasn't able to do quite what I wanted to do, and I found the way around it, but if I had known that way, I would have saved quite a few seconds. And currently, also, we are going extremely slow. I think this thing might have been damaged at some point during this rally. Either way, third place, and overall, we got third. Can't complain about that. And more vehicles unlocked, I'll take it. Got a couple more races to do, can't complain about that. But that's the game. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought of this video and this game in general. I know like non-automation stuff isn't as popular on my channel, but I still like to do it every once in a while. I'm flashing up on the screen right now, maybe flashing was the wrong choice of words, but there are some calendars that the website has. You should probably take a look at them. And also the stories that they have on the website of how they went and actually went to these locations to visit to make this game, which is quite cool. But anyway, I do think that this is the best off-roading style game from 2011 and from the games before it that I know of. Like the detail in this game is quite good. It's a diamond in the rough though. There are some issues as we discussed and as you probably saw in the gameplay. It could be improved. It isn't going to be, but I'm glad that we have games like this and games like Spin Tires for those of you, and me included in this, who are interested in off-roading and physics. It's just cool. But anyway, I'll see you again later on this week for some special stuff. Got some new merch to announce and something else to go along with that, so it's gonna be good. And as always, an extra special shout out to those who've chosen to support me via the join button. If you want to join this group, which is getting quite large, thank you everybody. Make sure to hit that join button. You can pick either supporter or advanced supporter, and if you're an advanced supporter, I'll say your name like I'm about to now. So we've got Canadian Steel, Overlord, Dr. Ivo, That Rice Stood Explorer, QT Bear, Crypt Panzer, Justin, James, McLovin Plays, Slow Fried Chicken 69, and Terray Williams. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate all of you a lot, and again, see you in the next video.